Hey, what's up? Yeah, this time, you may not like what I have to say. I'm gonna talk about religion. I have, many times talked about this to various people, and many of them were religious. And I always felt like there was something, especially today's world, that I don't understand when it comes to people and religion. Yeah, I think simply that there are too many so called fake religious people in this world today. There are people who only use religion as a sort of a medicine, when they need it, when they are not feeling well, when they are feeling afraid or weak or insecure. Yeah, definitely. But that's just one aspect of this whole thing. I think I feel like, you know, I've been told, for instance, by one person who was a religious, she wasn't a Christian, doesn't matter what she was. Anyway, she told me that not believing in God is the same as believing in the devil, actually. And yeah, we stopped being friends because of that, actually. But that was because she could not accept that I did not believe. And I still don't really. Even now, I'm a little divided. I do tell people now that I'm an agnostic, but I'm a skeptic, if anything. Yeah. So, for instance, yesterday I watched the interview that Michael Francis had with Tristan Tate, and he was like saying stuff like, "Oh, being an atheist is such a terrible thing. I don't want to call myself that, even though I used to, but something like that, like, as being an atheist is the worst thing you can be, you know." And I don't get that kind of attitude, but it's very common today, actually, and also in these countries that are, progressive, modern, whatever you want to call them, more and more people are, there have been many, countless people that have converted also to other religions from the, Europe, the typical, let's say, original, well, not original, but the religion that has been common in Europe, that was, of course, Christianity and is, but many people have also converted to Islam or, yeah, mostly to Islam, I would say, not so many to Buddhism, Hinduism. A few have also gone over to those religions or Judaism, even, I don't know. But because, but that to me is kind of, I don't know really. All religions you know in the core are the same, actually. They are all the same. It's just that they worship different gods or God. You got monotheistic and pantheistic religions. And monotheistic means there's only one God they believe in. And pantheists, they have several gods. So that's one thing. But really, what people don't understand, they don't. When the problem is when you were born maybe and raised as an atheist, and then you became, like a born again, well, Christian or something else. those people have a really hard time accepting other people who are atheists, and they even, preach to them and try to convert them. But yeah, that's the worst part. It is very wrong to try to convert someone to your own faith. It is very wrong. Even though I don't care if it even may say in your holy book that you should do that, but yeah, it is very wrong because you cannot impose on somebody's own beliefs or non-beliefs. You cannot really impose. It is not right to do so. However, religious people take that liberty, and this is the bottom of this. I'm going getting to to the bottom of the whole thing. What I want to say is that they feel like they have the right to tell you what you should be believing in. So I got no problems with these people who are religious, but they keep it to themselves. They respect that you are not religious, and you know, they will never, try to convert you. And however, yeah, there are some people who say they respect you through your, non-believing. However, whenever somebody pronounces the name of their God in front of you, like there's this, you know, uh, there's this phrase that certain religions use, like, you know, if they keep saying that in front of you, that it means that they don't respect you, really, your beliefs or non-beliefs anyway. Well, no, even non-belief is a belief because you know, that's what you think. You yourself have chosen to not believe in God, and you know, but still, there. I feel like we have gone backwards in these last 10 to 12 years. I don't know. I feel like we have gone backwards in that respect because, like in the 90s and the beginning of the century, it was far more in, to put it that way, to be a non-believer than it is now. Now, because of all this, fear around, what can happen, the war, whatever, uncertainty, uncertain future. People have really gone over. Many people have taken to religion, of course, as their comfort, and now and that makes them think and act like very very self-righteous and condemning and judgmental way, you know uh, towards people who don't believe, right? And that's the worst part. So I know this guy, for instance, he keeps telling me this. I mean, he didn't become religious until he was like, over 45 or something. I don't know. And when you become religious that late in life, yeah, it's kind of it's hard not to become very like self-righteous and preach and stuff, and because people who are raised with it, they are very very used to the whole thing, and they don't always do this. They are they know how you are supposed to act around people who are not religious. But yeah, I think that's the case. But people who are not raised as religious and become religious later in life, they are usually very like you know very orthodox, and yeah, very like judgmental towards people who are not religious, Christian, Muslim, Jewish, Buddhist, I don't know, whatever. Um, yeah, so, yeah, so that's the problem. While we who don't believe, we actually have a certain amount of respect for the believers, and even though we don't believe ourselves, we don't really judge people who believe. We only ask not to be judged ourselves. Yeah, there are certain atheists who can be very, also condescending towards religious people. Yeah, because they feel, it's just, an illusion, or a delusion even to believe there's something up there in the sky or in wherever that leads that you know commands all this what's happening. Yeah, like steers everything. And yeah, and especially with thought with thinking of what everything that's been happening and going on these last 50, 100 years, to believe that there is a God is kind of far fetched. You must admit, people, you who believe in God, you must admit, you must understand how difficult it is for some of us who are free thinkers, thinking and independent thinkers. It is a lot to ask from us that we believe in God, to put it that way. It is a lot to ask. You must understand that. After we see what's going on, like all this fucking evil, in the world, and corruption and hatred and violence and greed, and you know. But yeah, they will always say, "Oh no, God, that's not God, that's people." Yeah, but shouldn't all be? There are many of these people. They call themselves Christians and Muslims and Jews, and they do evil deeds still. And actually, I don't think many of these worst people, like are really atheists. That are like Netanyahu or Putin or whatever. You name it, Biden. I think they all consider themselves more or less religious. I'm not sure about Putin, but yeah. Anyway, you know, yeah, I think he also kind of likes to play anyway, a religious man. Just to cut all ties with communism and that whole Soviet era. He does probably. Yeah. So a lot of wrong things have been done in the name of God. We all know that by now. And the Vatican itself was supposed to be the bastion of Christianity. Look at everything that's going on there. I suggest you either read up or watch a very, you know, uh, impartial documentary about all their dealings, during the Second World War, and like, I know for a fact that, for instance, they helped the Croatian fascist leader escape after the Second World War. Yeah, they helped him escape, but yeah, that's what they did, and they did not condemn. If you watch, there's a movie about this called Amen from 2002, a German movie, or French German, yeah. Anyway, which speaks about how this young priest was trying to get Pope to condemn the Holocaust, and he wouldn't do it in the end. So yeah, that's the truth, people. And in the end, as I want to repeat that, yeah, the basic basic problem and the difference between the non-believers and believers is that non-believers may think that believers are silly for believing in God. They will never really say, "Oh, he or she are a terrible person because they believe in God." But believers will say that about non-believers. You are a terrible person. You are sinful. You are an evil, whatever. They will go to great lengths, there to condemn anybody who doesn't believe. So that's the that's my problem with religion. I don't have the problem with the aspect, like what says in the books. There's a lot of good stuff, a lot of good messages there in the Bible, and even I'm sure in other holy books as well. But yeah, it is a pretty absolutist thing to believe in God. Like, there's just God and that's it. There are no other explanations to all the mysteries in the world. It's all God behind it, God or the devil. So, yeah, it's a very like simplified, way of thinking, and it's for the masses, of course. So the masses will always believe the average guy, the average man, will always believe in God, while the above average man, let's say, not always. And yeah, that's the truth. I mean, there has been done a lot of bad stuff to in the name of religion, and yeah, I don't have to mention now what's the Islamic part of it. You know all about it. That's all because people have taken everything out of context and yeah, have been consumed by this will or wish to punish those who they think have sinned against their God, against their religion. And that has gone even on in Europe. It used to be these witch trials and everything, it was terrible, terrible stuff. And the war, like 100 years of war, there was fought because the Protestants and the Catholics could get along. The Catholics could not accept that now there was a new way, new sort of Christianity, going on in parts of Europe. So it's all, But yeah, I mean, I have certain friends I know who are religious, and I would never want to offend them, but I gotta say this is my opinion. I gotta voice my opinion about this. I haven't talked about this for a long time, and I've never been so blunt about it as now, I believe. So, yeah, there you go. I mean, part of me is like, he wants to believe that there is something higher, some kind of higher power. However, you know, but the rest of me just is too, grounded and realistic and pragmatic, and to allow the other part to really believe. Yeah, all right. So take care and don't judge anybody, please. Don't judge.